Most financial gurus tell you that an emergency fund requires thousands of dollars to even start. They're dead wrong. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn a single $50 bill into a fully automated financial safety net by engineering a system of micro contributions that builds itself while you sleep. By the end of this video, you will have a step-by-step blueprint for a bulletproof fund that stands between you and financial disaster. My name is Luis, and I spend way too much time thinking about emergency savings, financial safety nets, and why most people know they need a cushion, but still can't seem to build one. If you're someone who's been living without a real financial buffer, and you're tired of that low-grade anxiety every time an unexpected bill shows up, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Today, we are breaking that paralysis. We're throwing out the giant, intimidating numbers and starting with a single psychological weapon: $50. Now, you might be thinking, Luis, $50? That's nothing. And I get it. But here's the thing. $50 is what I call the power number. It's the exact threshold where the sacrifice feels trivial, but the momentum feels real. In our current economy, $50 is money you can lose track of in a single weekend on accidental streaming renewals or a couple of convenience deliveries. It's small enough that your brain doesn't register it as a threat to your lifestyle, yet large enough to clear the single biggest hurdle in personal finance: the transition from 0 to 1. Look, according to Bankrate's 2026 Emergency Savings Report, nearly 1 in 4 Americans, 24%, have absolutely zero emergency savings. Zero. And only 47% say they could even cover a $1,000 unexpected expense. When you move that first $50 into a dedicated account, you are just saving money. You are breaking the psychological inertia that keeps millions of people trapped in a paycheck-to-paycheck loop. You're proving to yourself that your income has a surplus. That $50 seed is the catalyst for everything we're going to build today. Now, if you plan to manually log into your banking app every week and transfer money, I'm going to be honest with you. You're gonna fail. Not because you lack discipline, but because human beings are hardwired to avoid friction. Every manual transfer is a conscious decision to give up money today for an abstract benefit tomorrow. And eventually, you'll skip one, then two, then you stop entirely. So we don't rely on willpower. We rely on architecture. The tools available right now have completely changed how ordinary people can accumulate capital. There are AI-driven micro-savings apps that don't just round up your purchases to the nearest dollar, they actually analyze your spending patterns in real time. Here's how that looks in practice. You buy a morning coffee for $5.40, and the app rounds it up to $6, pushing 60 cents into your fund. But it goes deeper. The algorithm detects that your utility bill came in lower this month. Without you lifting a finger, it skims an extra few dollars on a random Tuesday afternoon because it knows, based on your history, that you won't even notice it's gone. By stacking these algorithmic micro-saves on top of your initial $50 deposit, you turn the very mechanism that chips away at your wealth through 1,000 tiny expenses and flip it into reverse. 1,000 tiny deposits, building a fortress. The money moves before you can spend it. But before we build out the full system, we have to fix the software running inside your head. For decades, banks told you to save for a rainy day. That phrase is dead. It's passive, it's outdated, and it doesn't match the world we actually live in. A rainy day sounds like a minor inconvenience, a flat tire, a leaky faucet. Here's what most people don't realize. In a job market being reshaped by AI integration and constant corporate restructuring, we're not saving for a rainy day. We're purchasing financial immunity. Think about your emergency fund as a product you're buying. Every dollar you add is another unit of insulation between you and a layoff, a medical crisis, or an economic downturn. Financial immunity means your life doesn't go into free fall when chaos hits. It means you don't accept a toxic job offer out of desperation. It means you don't compound your stress by wondering how you'll cover rent next month. A Vanguard study found that people with at least $2,000 in emergency savings reported financial well-being 21% higher than people with nothing saved. And people without emergency savings spent an average of 7.3 hours a week stressed about money, nearly double the 3.7 hours for those with a cushion. Frame saving from a restrictive chore into an act of aggressive self-defense, everything changes. You aren't punishing yourself by skipping an impulse buy. You're actively purchasing your freedom. Okay, let's build the actual structure. Dumping all your emergency money into one generic savings account is a design flaw. If it's too accessible, you'll spend it. If it's too locked away, you can't reach it when your car breaks down at midnight. The solution is a 3-tier system. Tier 1 is your panic button. This is $1,000 to $1,500, roughly 1 week of basic living expenses. This money doesn't care about earning interest. Its only job is to be accessible within minutes. It sits in a separate checking or digital wallet account. Medical emergency at 2 a.m.? Tier 1 absorbs the shock, so you never have to reach for a credit card. Tier 2 is your structural core. 1 to 3 months of bare minimum survival expenses. This tier lives in a high-yield savings account, and this is where it gets really interesting. Right now, in 2026, the best high-yield accounts are offering around 4 to 5% APY. Compare that to the national average at traditional banks, 0.38%, according to the FDIC. Your money needs to be in a place that at least fights inflation, not a place where it quietly loses purchasing power every day. Tier 2 takes 1 to 2 business days to access. That slight friction is intentional. It stops you from raiding it for non-emergencies while still keeping it reachable when you truly need it. Tier 3 is your extended runway, months 4 through 6 of expenses. This is deeply insulated capital, parked for maximum preservation and yield. Tier 3 isn't just survival money. It's what gives you the freedom to retrain for a new career, take a calculated risk, or maintain your standard of living during a prolonged crisis. Your criteria for any account holding Tier 2 or 3 money are non-negotiable. 0 monthly fees, no early withdrawal penalties, and full FDIC insurance. The secret to scaling from $50 to a fully funded 3-tier system is making the entire operation invisible. If you have to think about saving every time you get paid, you've introduced a point of failure. Here's the pipeline. The day your paycheck hits your primary account, your automated transfers trigger immediately. You start by routing $50 a week into Tier 1. Once Tier 1 hits its $1,500 ceiling, the automation switches and capital starts flowing into Tier 2. Then Tier 3. Because the transfers happen on the same day as your direct deposit, your brain adapts to a new baseline income. You never see the money sitting in your checking account, so you never feel that phantom sensation of having extra cash to blow. You've engineered an environment where building wealth is the default, and spending your emergency fund requires conscious effort to break your own system. Now, you can build the most elegant, automated pipeline in the world, but if your financial boat has 100 tiny leaks, it's eventually going to sink. And the number one leak right now? Subscription creep. Here's a stat that should wake you up. According to recent data, the average American thinks they spend about $86 a month on subscriptions. Actual tracked number? $219 a month. People underestimate their subscription spending by more than double. And roughly $17 a month, over $200 a year, goes to services they rarely or never use. Those are ghost expenses, draining your account while providing zero value. That software you used once? Cancel it. That premium delivery tier you forgot about? Kill it. Every $15 subscription you eliminate isn't just $15 saved. It's a permanent, recurring deposit redirected into your emergency fund. You're turning waste into ammunition without changing your quality of life one bit. And while we're plugging leaks, let's talk about impulse spending. Look, e-commerce platforms use incredibly sophisticated behavioral psychology. Artificial scarcity, personalized ads, one-click checkout, all designed to trigger a dopamine hit before your rational brain can intervene. To combat this, implement what I call the 48-hour cooldown rule. Anytime you find a non-essential item online, add it to your cart, close the tab, and walk away for 2 full days. Once that artificial urgency clears your system, most of the time you'll realize you didn't actually want it. That saved cash stays exactly where it belongs. Automation and defense are your foundation. But if you want to compress your timeline dramatically, you go on offense. First, the side hustle sprint. You don't need to build a business empire. You need a focused 30-day burst. Pick up 2 or 3 freelance micro projects. Writing, design, consulting, whatever skill you already have, and dedicate your evenings to completing them. The golden rule? 100% of that revenue bypasses your lifestyle entirely and goes straight into Tier 2. A single month of focused effort can compress a year of passive saving into weeks. Second, the tax refund blitz. According to IRS data from 2026, the average refund this filing season is $3,462. For most people, that money lands and evaporates into a vacation or a new gadget. Instead, treat it as a strategic windfall. Take that entire lump sum and deploy it directly into Tier 3. In a single day, you can watch your emergency fund jump from a fragile baseline to a multi-month fortress without cutting a dime from your daily spending. Third, the cashback stack. Every time you buy groceries or gas, you're interacting with an ecosystem of hidden rebates. Stack your credit card rewards with browser extensions and loyalty apps. But here's the critical move. Don't let those rewards accumulate as store credit that tempts you to spend more. Configure your accounts to auto-liquidate rewards into cash and funnel it directly into your high-yield emergency bucket. Your everyday spending becomes a self-funding mechanism for your own security. Let's zoom out and look at what we've built. We started with a single $50 seed. We automated an invisible pipeline that grows without willpower. We deployed defensive shields against subscription creep and impulse spending, and we used tactical accelerators to compress years of saving into months. It's not just a bank balance, it's sovereignty. A Vanguard study showed that building even $2,000 in savings cuts your weekly financial stress nearly in half. Bankrate found that 60% of Americans are uncomfortable with their savings level. You no longer have to be one of them. When a fully funded emergency system stands behind you, the world looks different. The anxiety that keeps you up at night fades. The fear of an unpredictable employer or a shifting economy loses its grip. You stop operating from desperation and start operating from power. You broke the inertia today. Now go secure your future. Open the account, deposit the $50, set up the automation, and let the system do what it was designed to do. If this changed how you think about money, smash that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me which tier you're building toward, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.